You might not have known it when you first saw it, but remember when Tom Cruise faced off against fifth-generation fighter jets at the climax of Top Gun Maverick?
What the? Oh, what the fuck was that?
What you are seeing here is, at least Hollywood's imagination of, Russia's Sukhoi Su-57. Russia touts it as the most powerful, advanced, and even deadliest fifth-generation fighter jet on the planet. And yet, it has some issues.
Drones damaged one of Russia's most powerful warplanes.
Ukraine says it destroyed one of Russia's most advanced stealth fighter jets.
First known successful strike on a Sukhoi 57 fighter plane.
Last year, the British Defense Ministry published this photograph of Russia's Akhtuminsk airfield outside Volgograd. In it, they identified 5 Su-57s. And on June 8th, Ukraine said it had struck 2 of these stealth fighters. This happened while they sat out in the open at an airfield more than 600 kilometers from the front lines. Satellite imagery taken the following day appears to confirm damage to one of the jets. After this, we started digging into this jet. Is it any good? Why did it take Russia so long to develop it? Why is no other country buying it? And what we found was that people were talking about the Su-57 like they were reviewing a product, debating its design, build quality, cockpit layout, like it was the latest iPhone or something. And then we realized that the Su-57 is a product, but it is one that exists at the intersection of international relations, money, power projection, and military-industrial complexes. World leaders and ranking military officers attend air shows around the world, just like this one outside Moscow, and shop for fighter jets as if they're looking for a new car. I mean, just look who we found here. This is President Putin in 2019 making the sales pitch for the Su-57 himself to Turkey's president. Turkey is a NATO member. You know, that military alliance Putin claims is an existential threat to Russia. Trying to sell to a NATO member a Russian jet it claims edges out America's best, which in Putin's mind should mean it could one day be used against him. To wrap my head around this, it was helpful to first understand what a fifth-generation fighter is and why so many countries want one. While there's no official definition, a fifth-generation fighter jet generally includes supersonic flight without afterburners, stealth design, ultra-high maneuverability, advanced avionics, and multi-role capability. Currently, only the United States, Russia, and China claim to manufacture the fifth-generation fighters. But the global demand is quite strong to replace aging aircraft, with a handful of countries developing their own fifth-generation fighters. India, for its part, originally intended to co-develop and produce the Su-57 with Russia, but withdrew from the project in 2018 after ongoing concerns arose during its development. In fact, the development became so delayed, it wouldn't be delivered until 9 years after the US Air Force retired its F-22 Raptor, with the F-22 being the very jet that Russia was attempting to reach parity with through the Su-57.
Оцей літак позиціонувався як відповідь на американський F-22 Raptor. Ну і, власне, якщо говорити, чим він поступається цьому Raptor'ові, то насамперед тим, що Су-57 іще по-справжньому і не став в стрій. Він не є зараз масовим, виготовили там десь за різними оцінками біля 20 екземплярів.
He says the jet could better be described as a 4+ gen fighter, not a true fifth-generation aircraft.
Саме поняття ось цієї генерації, воно до певної міри умовне, але поряд із тим є певні достатньо чіткі параметри, які визначають належність літака-мисливця до 5-ї генерації, і це поряд там із малою радіолокаційною тепловою помітністю, поряд із високою маневреністю і деякими іншими параметрами, це іще і здатність здійснювати крейсерський політ на надзвуковій швидкості без увімкнення форсажу двигуна. До справжніх мисливців 5-ї генерації він не дотягує.
Still, the aviation world's eyes were on how the Su-57 would perform in the real world. And Russia has been evasive about its actual combat experience, such as its reported use of prototypes in Syria, which one aviation expert described as reckless for the pilot's safety. This is a jet that has been plagued by negative publicity for years now. And you might be thinking, the United States has also had its own dramas with its latest 5th-generation jet. When it comes to defense spending and new technologies, Russia is not alone in cost overruns or inflated expectations. But there's a difference. The US can afford it, and it has buyers for its $100 million jet. Until recently, Russia was the world's largest arms exporter after the United States, often to countries outside America's orbit of influence. But thanks in part to sanctions, Russia has lost this title to France. And France has significantly increased its market share in countries like India and Armenia that have typically looked to Moscow for weaponry. This has the potential to become a permanent shift in the global defense sector, and not in Russia's interest. On the battlefield, Russia's most advanced and complex weaponry has often underperformed compared to simple munitions at mass quantities. The war has given potential buyers a glimpse at the quality and effectiveness of Russian technology, and many countries are now choosing to develop their own or find other suppliers. The Su-57 is an expensive fighter jet, estimated to cost between $35 to $50 million, which Moscow had wanted to sell abroad at some point. But the Su-57 remains an expensive investment with no foreign buyers interested. So, Russia itself has scaled back procurement and adoption of its own jet, currently operating only 20 or so. This has left Russia in an awkward position. An unwillingness to test the jet in risky airspace on the one hand, and maintaining their sales pitches on the other. And for some, this raises the question whether the Su-57 is more hype than reality, which Russia assures us is not the case. But so far, Russia has kept the jet away from risk, only using it as a launching platform against Ukraine from within its own territory. A function no different than being performed already by their other, significantly cheaper aircrafts. Following Ukraine's announcement that it had targeted 2 Su-57s, a popular Russian aviation Telegram channel reported that one of the damaged jets will receive repairs on site, while the other suffered damage from shrapnel, and if confirmed, it would be the first combat loss of an Su-57 and only the second stealth warplane to ever be lost by any country in combat in 4 decades. Using comparatively inexpensive drones, Ukraine has dealt Russia's Su-57 a reputational blow while reminding the world that it's not how much it costs that matters, but how you use it. And as arms exports decline, Putin has, in short, sunk a historically lucrative export industry for Russia, whose dominance it inherited from the Soviet Union. And he did it in a matter of just a few years. If you want to get more into the weeds and learn about the Su-57, its mythology versus reality, please check out Chris's article linked below in the description. And visit our website to also consider becoming a member of the Kyiv Independent.